Hi. Hello, beautiful filmmakers. It is Monday, so it is time for Filmmaker to Filmmaker. I hope you guys have had an amazing weekend. We here in Denver just had our first weekend that actually felt like spring. Yesterday really felt like a spring day, so I'm just feeling like, woo, I'm so excited. And actually, next week is spring break, so next week I will do Filmmaker to Filmmaker, but there will be a little 6-year-old running around my house with me. Hi. Nice to see you. I hope you had a nice weekend. I was just saying how it's beginning to feel like spring, and it's so great. Hi. Oh my gosh, my sister's here. Hi. Okay, so this is Filmmaker to Filmmaker, where I answer a question from a filmmaker each week. And this week I have a question from a screenwriter. And this is actually someone who's doing my screenwriting course right now. She sent me this question. Hi. And I really wanted to... really wanted to answer it here, so I keep seeing different names popping up, and it's so lovely to see people here. So I wanted to answer this question from this screenwriter who's doing my screenwriting course. You guys, if you are wanting to write a screenplay and you're not in the course, why not? What's going on? Get in there. It's really I just think such a powerful course because it just gets it done. It will get you over the finishing line, of writing a first draft. And I remember what it was like writing my very first screenplay. It took me 3 years because there was so much doubt and worry and, just all the stuff that goes along. And, I just feel like this course is the answer to that. It will just hold you accountable and get you through it in 8 weeks. And obviously in the Facebook group, I answer questions and stuff so you can get support and you can get, people around you helping you with stuff. Now, that being said, this is a question from somebody who is doing the screenwriting course. And I felt this was a sort of interesting question that was worth doing on this because I think some other writers will be dealing with this question and it's worth considering. And the question is, should I write a TV pilot or a movie? Okay, and that's the nutshell of it. And this particular writer said to me that she is wondering about this. She had started out with the idea of writing a movie, but then she started doing the research, and it's about somebody who really did exist. And I'm not going to go into details about this person, but it's somebody who really did exist, and she's done a ton of research and has found out so much about this person. And she says now, like, people have said to her, it seems like so much information. Maybe it's a TV series, and there's so much. And, so should she write a TV pilot rather than a movie? And I've seen this question come up for a lot of people because obviously as well, we're living in a moment in time where there's so many great TV shows and so many opportunities for writers of great stuff in TV compared with movie world, which is kind of like, the studios have basically stopped making movies for grown-ups. They basically make comic book movies and that's about it. And, and then there's indie world, but, like a lot of people sort of see, oh, maybe I'm better to write a TV pilot because there's more money there and all that good stuff. So let's talk about this. The first thing I would say to this writer is the number one thing, like you've had this idea, you've done the research, now trust your instincts, okay? So, and it's that thing, I say this, I feel like I say this every week, but just try to get quiet and go, what do you feel called to write? Is it a movie or is it a TV thing? And the main difference, obviously, a movie is a story, right? With a beginning, middle, and end for the character. And it will be something of the transformation of that character, about their journey from who they are at the beginning to who they are at the end. Whereas a TV series, is going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to tune in with that character. There might be a transformation, but it's going to be a lot slower, right? And we're going to have a lot more things happen. And the world, we're going to be more engaged in the world and what happens each week rather than the transformation, right? So, it's just for you. What do you feel called to write? What do you like in your perfect world? Is this a movie? Like, is this a movie you want to see, or is this a TV show that you would want to watch? Like, I would start with that question and just trust it because you're writing a spec. Right? A spec, for those of you who don't know, is a speculative script, and that means you're not getting paid to write it, right? It's not like somebody has commissioned you to write it, or you're writing someone else's idea and you have to sort of, fulfill their idea. You are writing a spec so you can write whatever you want, and that's just beautiful. So write, what you feel called to write and what you think it would be best as. Now, from the business point of view, like you might be thinking, okay, but would it have more chance being made as a TV thing, or does it have more chance getting made as a movie script? And, to be honest, I think, even though this is like a golden age of TV, probably you have more chance of getting the movie made than a TV pilot. Although there's like so much happening in TV and there's so many people investing in it, still, if you're completely new to it, like you have no back record, it's not like you're the Coen brothers and you want to do a TV show or something, or you haven't done 5 different indie films, you don't have a track record yet. And so I feel like actually selling a spec of a TV pilot and series is gonna be a lot harder. You're definitely gonna have to get a very good agent or manager who's like in that world. I feel like that could actually be harder than trying to sell a movie spec. So from the business aspect, I kind of feel like a movie probably has more chance. But again, I go to like, what do you really want to do as you go on too? Like, if you really see your dream career as being a TV writer, like you're like, I am just all about, like TV in that format and, the possibilities within episodic storytelling, like that's my passion, then you should probably write it as a TV thing. If on the other hand, you're really passionate about movies and you're like, I just love movie and I just see myself as writing movies, you should write it as a movie, And let's be clear, like you want to write the best thing that you can, not only so that it has the best chance of getting sold or getting made, but also so that you have the best possible writing sample, when you're starting out, right? This is your first screenplay or second or third, like you really want to create a very strong sample, even if it doesn't end up getting made. And so it's again just goes back to, what do you want to write? Because I always feel that you'll write your best work when you're writing, what you really want to write, what you're passionate about. I know for myself, when I have tried to write things and fit them into a certain box, because I think it's the right thing to do, they're never that good. And when I'm just guided by like what I really am so excited about and passionate about and, like the story that I really want to tell, that's when I do my best work every time, but when I'm trying to put it in a box, it's just like, it's like dead. So you want to write the best sample. So what do you, I would just say to this writer, what are you passionate about? Do you freaking love TV series? Is that your jam? Or are you a movie person? Personally, I'm a movie person, right? I like TV series, but to be honest, I usually get tired of them after like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know, like I don't want to invest that much time, So I'm like 2 or 3 episodes, I'm kind of done. And that's why I think I prefer movies, because I just like that like one-off experience, And I like a complete story within that amount of time. And it's just, that's my passion. And I've tried to write TV. I did have one idea for a mini series, because it was like I can't fit the story into a movie form, And this is when we're going to get into now the like actually talk about what you're writing. So you said that you're writing it's about a real person and the events of their life, and you've done a ton of research and you have all the information, which is amazing. So then I think it goes into these questions. And as I said a minute ago, like I once did write a mini series because I had a story that really was more than just one little time in someone's life. It was multi-generational, and I just like it's epic, and it could not have fit into a movie format, the story that I wanted to tell. And it wasn't episodic, it was not something that would just go on and on and on. And so I asked you, like, the question you need to really dig into, and I've just do some free writing, what is the story you want to tell? Because a person's life is not a story, right? A person's life is just a series of random events, right? And at some point you have to decide, what is the story that you want to tell about that person, right? And maybe it is something that you want to tell it from when they're born to when they die, right? And they live for 70 years. Maybe you actually really do want that scope. And in which case I think you are looking at probably a mini series or episodic, unless you just take the view like, it would be really cool to do a movie where, kind of like Moonlight, where we're just going to drop in at this part, in this person at certain points in their life, through their life, right? And we're just going to see. So there's like the scene from their childhood, and then there's this and there's that. Now, taking Moonlight as an example, Moonlight, is obviously about a person, and it was 3 different parts of their life. But there is a clear story that relates, that is the thread between them, right? There's a story of this person's search to be loved. Right? And that's what that movie is about, right? Will they find love? Will they be loved for who they are, right? And so, like, I think you just have to go with the story you have. And this is the real problem when we're doing biopics. We've all seen lots of crummy biopics that are like, they're just, they're episodic. It's like, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then this happened, and then that happened, and it's not interesting. The best biopics every single time are the ones that have chosen a story, and it's either like a certain time in that person's life, so it's just like choosing a certain like section of their life or something, or it's like, it's choosing a theme from their life, right? And it might be arching over a longer period, but it's a theme, right? That is like, and it's a question, of like, are they going to solve this problem? Or are they going to resolve this? Or how are they going to deal with that, right? And so I would ask you to like dig into your character, and she sounds like totally fascinating, like really, really interesting. So I would go for you, what is the story though that you're trying to tell, right, about her? Like, where do you see this starting? Where is it finishing? What is the transformation that's happening in her? Why is that engaging? What is the question that's driving the story, And so I think like once you get clear about that, you might get clearer too about whether it is a movie or a TV pilot. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about this though is basically choose and do it, right? Because what you will find, first of all, we like to make confusion for ourselves, not to do things. Oh, good. I see the note. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. We like to like create confusion sometimes. So, it's like, should I do this? Should I do that? And it's all just an excuse not to actually write the thing, right? Because we're just like going, we create the confusion. And, just go like, just choose and do it. Because also you might find like, so maybe you write it as a movie, and then you sort of see that this could go on. It doesn't really finish there, and there's a possibility for more. And you can adapt it to be an episodic, a pilot for an episodic. Or maybe it's the other way around, that you write it as a pilot, and then you go, actually, I just like the idea that this is a closed thing, But the number one thing is write it. It's just like, don't make this into a big thing. Like, just trust your instincts and go with what you want. Someone is saying here, we still expect to see some kind of change in the character because of a thing within a theme, story elements, even though it's a biopic, so you have to narrow it down in some way. Yes. And I think the most effective biopics always are the ones, they hone in on a story within that person's life. They're not trying to tell the whole thing, because the whole thing is just going to be too much. Somebody else has just written, what do I do to get my movie made? Who do I send it into? How can I do that? That's a big question there. It depends what kind of movie and how, what you are aiming for. If it's a kind of studio film, a big film, then you will be looking to get an agent or manager who can help you to sell it to those studios. If it's an independent film, you will be looking for a production company. You don't necessarily need to get an agent or manager. You might be wanting to make it yourself. So there's many answers to that question. I would say check out my book. If you want to do this sort of like make it yourself version, check out the book Shoot from the Heart. That's my book, and that is a whole book about how to make your movie if you just want to make it yourself. If you do want to get it made, i.e. you want to sell it to studios or something, you need to get an agent or manager. And the way that you do that is by writing a few very good scripts that you can approach them with. Okay, so that's it for today. You're welcome. So thank you. I hope it helps. That's like such a huge question. We could be here all day talking about that. I hope that helps for the writer who is like, should I write pilot or movie? At the end of the day, and this is the joy of writing speculative scripts, you can do what you want. And so, you just get to be, take the risks, do the things that you want to do, and you don't have to worry about it. And, it's like whatever you are called to write and whatever you think is like the thing, just do it. And doing is the important thing. We can just think about writing scripts all day long. We can read about it. We can consume stuff about it. We can just be like, stop, just do it. And once you start writing, and as I say, you might write it and then be like, actually, maybe this would be the other thing. And that's okay. You can change it. It won't be wasted work. It's never wasted work. I'm so excited for you, by the way. Someone's saying they're going to join the course tomorrow. Yay! I'm so excited. I absolutely love the screenwriting course. I think it's like the nearest, dearest thing to my heart, because when I was starting out, being a screenwriter was the thing that I wanted to be more than anything. Like, still, if I would go, if I would like to win an Oscar for something, it would be for screenwriting, not for directing. Like, I just like screenwriting is my ultimate number one jam. And I don't know, it was so hard for me when I started out, because I had so little faith in myself, I think partly, and just trying to figure it out. And I just feel like right now, I feel like there's so much information about screenwriting out there, and you can get all the advice, but it's quite often conflicting, and you can waste all your time, just going into the rabbit hole of getting different people's opinions about what works. And really, it's just like, it's all about getting it done, and getting it down. And that's why this course is so, like, I love it. I love teaching it in the classroom. I think, the way it's working out as an online course is really working out well, too, so that people, people can just ask questions, and I'm there to support, but also just be guided so that you stay on point and get it done. I'm obsessed with actually finishing things, because I just always go, like, once you have something finished, like when I finally finished the first draft of my very first screenplay, and it took me 3 years to write the first draft, because I would always doubt myself. I would be editing it. I would, get into that headspace of going, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing, all that stuff. And I just didn't stay on course at all with it until I finished it. And when I finished it, I suddenly had that magic experience of, like, you can read the whole thing from beginning, middle, and end, and you can see what needs fixed, right? Like, you've got something now. And then I need to be more obsessed with finishing. Yeah. Then once you have something finished, it's like, now you can fix it. Now you can see what's wrong with it. Now you can go back and make everything perfect. But until you have something, you don't have anything, and it can just go on forever. Like, you're constantly fixing something that's like, but it's not finished. Like, you've got to finish it, and then you can fix it, And once you've finished it, from when I finished my first screenplay, like, within a couple of months, I rewritten it and got it to a place where I felt really good about it. And from then, it was within 6 months that I had sold it. It's kind of like, mind blowing, really. And within a year, I was actually making my living as a screenwriting, which is, yes, Tali just said, fixing is an entirely different task than making. Exactly. And I was just recording the thing about screenwriting yesterday, one of the classes, and I was like, this is the important thing, that we don't mix up there's two different brains. One is creator and one is critic. Right? And the critic is what you need when you are fixing and editing and making it better. But it's really important that the critic is silenced when you're actually creating it, that you can get into that mode of just like making it. And it's like the pure, like, magical moment for me, the pure magical period of it, where you're just like, you don't worry about the quality of it. You don't worry how it will be received in the world. You don't worry about any of that. You just give yourself permission to write write what's coming, and write, like, I always go, like, give yourself permission to write the worst stuff ever. It's okay, right? Because you can fix it later, but you just want to be in that creative mode and let yourself go and just have fun with it, but get to the end of it, because that's when you can then, like, switch your brains and, let the creator be a little bit quiet while you bring the critic out and start to, raise it to the level that it needs to be. But that's it. All right, you guys, I hope you are all having a wonderful Monday, and it's lovely to see you here. Someone said I always hit blocks when I start editing my draft. Yes, exactly. So they're saying they hit blocks when they edit the draft as you go. I'm obsessed with this. It's one of my, like, number one tips to people is don't edit as you go. Just keep moving forward, never look back, because when we start looking back, we start to get disheartened. We start, it's just like, oh, this is no good. We start and we get into that, like, judging brain state instead of the pure, like, childlike creation, and it's like, how to shut down the creator, right, is bring the judge out, So I always go, like, I just go, don't edit it at all until you finish it. Just keep moving forward. And then when you've finished it and you also get that rush of accomplishment because you've said the end, then you go back to the start and you can start the editing. And then it becomes sort of joyful because you've finished it. You've already accomplished something. So it's not, it's not that thing where you're like, oh, this is never going to be any good anyway. And what's the point? Which is just the worst voice in the world, and which I just heard far too much when I was young, but now I'm old. All right, guys, I'm gonna go because I think my little one will be waking up from his nap very soon. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday, and it's great to see you, and I hope that helps the screenwriter Pilot or movie, it's your choice, whichever you want. But just get clear on what the story is, and write the best version of it. All right, guys. Bye.